welcome back to Kickback. I am so excited to have you join us. This episode, or this interview, is presented by the Canadian Mental Health Association, Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk. So thank you to them. And I'm really excited to have my friend Claire join us in the fake living room / yoga room here at UpYoga Wellness. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love that I'm here, and I love that you guys are doing this. This is amazing. So
yeah, and so we wanted to touch on grief, right? Which is
yes.
something that all of us experience in one way or another through life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you wanted to share about how there's many forms of grief.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people generally just, they think of death, and of course, yes, that is a very common, unfortunately, everybody goes through loss in their life. But I think there's also other types of grief as well. Even, grief with losing a job, even if it's like a sudden loss. I've had patients that I've treated that just out of nowhere that they've lost this job that they've put all these years into. And it really, really hits them very hard. And I don't think that kind of grief is really acknowledged much. But another really important one that I want to address is grief when leaving an abusive relationship. A lot of people think, when you leave an abusive relationship, it is like, oh, you must be so relieved and everything, just move on forward. But there is a level of grief with that. And that can be, a relationship whether it's like parental, or if it's a partnership, or even like a child, because there, are relationships when the child can be abusive to the parent and they have to cut that relationship off. So there is a lot of grief and guilt as well associated with that. So I think that's a very important one to address. It's not something that's really generally acknowledged, and if it's not acknowledged, it can't be helped, right? So it is important to kind of talk about those ones as well.
Definitely, and I think that there's even grief from like positive things as well, like like getting married or getting a new relationship, but you still lose that old form of who you were, right? Or having
absolutely.
A kid, you lose that life,
new
that
jobs,
you had.
new careers,
right?
Moving. Like there is so many different forms of grief. It's not just death that causes grief. So,
right.
Yeah.
And so from your perspective, through traditional Chinese medicine, how does it view grief?
So grief can be looked at in a lot of different ways. Everything manifests very differently for people. In my own experience, unfortunately, I've had several deaths that I've had to go through. Some of them have been very sudden, and some of them have been, watching someone go through cancer, and it's a more drawn out, like loss and grief. And I think that they're very, very different impacts when you have the different types, right? So actually what really got me into mental health in the first place was when I was 23. My best friend, his name's Mark Smith, and he passed away. He committed suicide, and it really was just such a huge impact and such a huge blow in my life that I just kind of took to how can I stop other people from doing this? How can I show people that there's other ways to do this and to stay around and to kind of get through whatever, right? So. Yeah, so that and there was that sudden death, and I looked into a lot of different ways to help people. I couldn't really quite find something that I could get into that was Western, and there was a lot of great things that Western therapies and stuff can do, but it just wasn't something that clicked with me. And then somehow, at some point, I found Chinese medicine, and it was just like, yeah, that's where I want to be. That is what I want to do, and that's how I think I can help people. Chinese medicine is so individual for every person, so it can manifest, differently with
like insomnia. It could be loss of appetite, different.
Yeah, there's a lot of different manifestations, right? So like you said, loss of appetite, or even the opposite, where it's just like constant hunger, right? So insomnia, anxiety, panic attacks, even like migraines, fatigue, a lot of things that are kind of just shoved off of, or even things that are like, I'm just getting older, so I'm getting more tired, or, inflammatory responses in the body, right? So a lot of things are very much like symptoms are muted, right? But all these symptoms are just little red flags that our body is kind of waving at us going, hey, I need help here.
Right.
Like there's an imbalance here, and we need to, like in Chinese medicine, bring the body back into balance and have that homeostatic kind of harmony within the body to be able to process a lot of that stuff. So, yeah.
Right, and like you said, I think a lot of people do like not take those feelings or sensations seriously until they are
Especially
much
when they're very
larger and in
common.
your face, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, and when we don't listen to our bodies, the symptoms and the signs get louder and louder until it's something, like I've had patients come in where they have, you know, numbness in the limbs, and, you know, they've had all the tests and nothing's, you know, coming back, and they can't figure it out. So of course they get, you know, my favorite diagnosis for people is that people have come in with is, oh, it's all in your head. It's like, no, it's not. It's your body. But those symptoms are, because those are very scary symptoms for people, but they tend to be like down the line of, you know, that ripple effect that people are like, okay, well, yeah, of course I've always had headaches, but, you know, whatever, who doesn't have headaches, you know? So there's so many red flags that our body will give us until it just gets to a point of like screaming at you. And that's usually when people are paying attention, and it's like, you know, we have to kind of backtrack of, okay, what is the root imbalance here? Like, so that's what I do in my practice is I look at all of the symptoms and I look at the body in its entirety, right? And we treat in its entirety. We don't just treat, you know, a symptom here, a symptom there. We look back and say, okay, well, this is connected with this and this and this, and oh, look at that, you had this big traumatic thing happen right before this symptom started, but it was just kind of a small thing, so you didn't really like, oh, you know, that's, you know, but yeah, the symptoms get louder and louder the more you ignore them, so.
well, and I think that a lot of people don't necessarily know what balance feels like
Yeah,
in their life, right? And so,
Yes,
like,
yeah.
For me, you and I had worked together, and the dairy was something that I needed to remove from my diet. And I was somebody that came with the numb toes.
Yeah, right.
They've just been numb for a while. Like, so that was me.
Yeah, it's like,
but
we need to backtrack
Get your
this,
toes checked. But
Yeah.
I know now, like just a simple way for me to kind of show that is that you don't necessarily know how good you feel until or how you were feeling until you don't. And so for me, with now, if I get accidentally dairied, then I eat some cheese or something. If I get dairied, I feel like I have a hangover the next day.
Yeah.
And then now to reflect back and feel like I feel like that all the time, every time I had cheese.
Yeah.
And that was my normal, right?
Yeah,
and so,
because who doesn't want cheese?
because who doesn't want cheese? But that much simpler approach to some of the grief and those different things.
It's very true.
But you don't know until you start actually being self-reflective on how you're feeling and what you're experiencing.
Well, and I think because we have such busy lives and we aren't really taught in our culture to take time for ourselves and to have self-care, we just end up in this go, go, go state, and our body kind of gets stuck in fight or flight, which is, you know, I hear a lot from people that are like, oh, I thrive in chaos. Like, no, you don't. You know how to survive in chaos.
It's survival mode. Yeah.
It's just that you don't know how to stop and you don't know how to be in the quiet. And that's, you know, that's where a lot of things, what I love about working at UpYoga is that there's so many different things that we can kind of incorporate into well-being. And yoga is a really, really huge thing for that. I love yoga and qigong and meditation, deep breathing. All of those things are really fantastic ways of like helping the body and kind of keeping that homeostatic balance. But yeah, no, like I said, a lot of people don't realize, you know, I've had so many people go, oh, is this how I'm supposed to feel?
Right.
Oh, okay, all right, I like this.
Yeah.
And then they will start to recognize, you know, they don't wait until they're way down at, you know, step 10 of their, you know, the trickle effect there.
Right.
And they'll come in for like tune-ups, as everyone seems to call it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm starting to feel this again, I better go see Claire
Right.
and just kind of get that tune-up, and instead of waiting until you've, you know, hit rock bottom in your health. It's a lot harder to come back from that. But a lot of people, once they do come back, they're like, well, I'm not going back there.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to go back to that place.
No, I'm gonna be better about
Right.
everything, and it's good. But it's just our culture, right? Like it's just go, 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 go. Have all the big things, have the big houses, have all the toys, and you know that costs money. So people work themselves to death. It's really, really not sustainable. Not sustainable at all. So.
And what does grief and trauma, like if left unchecked, what does that or what can that turn into in the body?
Yeah, so again, there is that ripple effect which manifests differently in everybody depending on where the imbalance is in your body. But in the end, your body will just crash. Like it's, again, with the people that are stuck in fight or flight that are just go, 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 which tends to happen a lot after trauma and grief. And it's not sustainable. So it definitely, a lot of times you'll get inflammatory reactions in the body. And I always tell people, you know, if you don't listen to your body eventually will get to a point where it will force you to listen in very aggressive ways.
Right.
So I've told people before, I'm like, don't wait until it's something I can't fix, because
Right.
there's only so much I can do. So yeah, that's basically, you know, things just kind of progressively get worse and flare-ups in the body. Yeah, it's not a pretty time. It's not good. So.
Yeah. And for somebody at home that's watching right now that's maybe heard of traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture and they're a little bit unsure, what would your message be to them?
Don't Google things. There is so much information out there. You can, if you can take things with a grain of salt, you have to kind of be able to get through the mishmash of nonsense out there. But there is a lot of information, and there's a lot of good information, there's a lot of bad information. But at the end of the day, come and talk to me.
Right.
I have free consultations here. There's no obligation to book after. I'm always open to answering questions, and that would be my best advice too.
Right.
Yeah, and it's understandable to be apprehensive about it because it is, you know, some people it's very new to them, and not knowing how well you can really have control over your own health just by, you know, even just dietary therapy, right? So it's and dietary therapy it's not diets. We don't do diets in Chinese medicine. At least I don't. That's not what I teach people. But I teach people to use food as a medicine because that's exactly what food is. It is a medicine in its purest form. So when you know how to harness that and when you know how to use it properly, it can make an immense difference in your life. Like even with you saying just the small thing of cutting out dairy, and you've noticed a big difference, right? So it's little changes that people can make because they haven't recognized, oh, you know what, I guess my body doesn't like that, right? So we have to just learn to listen to our bodies more. So.
Right, and for somebody that maybe is in the middle of a traumatic or just after a traumatic event or has just experienced grief, what are some of the signs that they might be experiencing or could be experiencing that you would be able to would say is like that's a flag and that's something that you should get looked at?
I have worked with medical doctors as well. I've worked with Western doctors with people that are on medications for things. I think reaching out to both is very, very helpful. But with myself, I mean, when people are going through, you know, grief and loss, I think it is very important to have self-care. I think it's also really important to acknowledge a lot of the feelings that you're feeling, but having that balance of not letting it consume your life, right? So a lot of the symptoms you will have are, you know, fatigue, lack of appetite or ferocious appetite, insomnia, which doesn't make sense a lot of times because you're just, you know, you're not sleeping, but you're so tired, but you think you could sleep. And even if you do sleep, you know, you can really have very vivid dreaming, very restless dreaming, waking up just feeling like you haven't slept at all. You know, even if you have people that are sleeping for 10, 12 hours and they're waking up just feeling so groggy, that's just a lot of stagnation in the body that we need to get moving before it kind of progresses into anything worse. So lots of different signs, but those are the very, very common ones that I'm sure everybody has kind of gone through at some point or another.
Yeah. And what's something like a tip that you may have for somebody that's watching at home right now that they could start doing like immediately?
Honestly, just breathing. Like breathing is deep breathing, right? Even for those days where you just feel like you can't get out of bed, you know, you have someone that has a sudden loss, and I get that. I have been there. Just deep breathing, movement, because the more you lie about, the more stagnant your body comes. Right. And then it gets really hard. It's almost kind of like trying to run through a bog, right? Like you're just, when your body becomes so stagnant. So even, you know, if you don't want to go to classes like Qigong or yoga classes, there's YouTube.
Right.
Look it up. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, do something that you're breathing deeply, you're moving chi, and that you're moving the body. So, try and do more, but I get it. Some days it's too hard, but if you can even do 10 minutes at home, that is better than nothing, So
Right.
just simple things like that.
For somebody maybe that's watching at home that has experienced grief or something traumatic and they just feel like it's too heavy and like they just feel stuck and not able to move forward, what would you say to them?
I would say I get it. I've definitely been there before where you feel like you're stuck in the ocean and the waves are just crashing down repeatedly on you and you feel like you just cannot keep your head above water, and that is so emotionally and mentally draining, but also physically draining. And I just think that I want people to know that there is help and that you can get through that. And there is so much more available now, holistically and, and pharmaceutically. There is a lot of things that, we can work together with. Even if you come and see me and if I can't, help you enough, I will help you find someone else.
Right.
There are so many holistic practitioners out there and there's so many things that can be done. There's so many people that are willing to throw you a rope, but you have to be the one that, it grabs that rope and pulls yourself out, right? 'Cause no one's going to do it for you. And I get that is hard, but I'm certainly living proof that there is a lot of people that are very willing to help people get out of that. So,
Well, thank you so much, Claire. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you
Thank you
taking
for
the
having
time
me.
to join
Yeah.
us.